Good afternoon. Those guys are sleepy. All right, so let's stand up fast. Let's all rise, please. Let's all get up. So what I want us to do this afternoon, the session is supposed to be on visioning and strategy. So I want you to turn to the person next to you, and I want you to think 2 years out from today. This is 2025, May 30th. 2027, May 30th. Where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? Discuss with the person next to you, then we'll get some people to share with us. All right, I think we're good. So, I'm going to ask to get 1 or 2 volunteers. Let's start with the back. Yes, there's a hand right there. And then you've got the lady there. All right, very good. Okay, go for it. Then we'll come to you.
Hello, everyone. It is so interesting this time around. I've been with this brother here and we have been talking about what we could be in after 2 years from now. Mm-hmm. And to me, I said that...
okay, guys, let's listen up. Our brother is sharing. Let's give him the attention.
I'll be finishing my degree next year in May and planning to start the master's degree next year in August. And by the 2 years from now end, I'll be establishing myself, I'll be in work, and I'll be planning to marry. Because I have to establish myself as early as possible. I have to establish myself as early as possible. I work with my woman to the destinations.
All right, let's give him a round of applause. The problem with this guy, he just wanted to tell us he's hoping to get married. Ladies, that's a message for you. I think the whole master story was just hadithi. All right, but thank you very much. Let's get another person. Let's have a hand somewhere. Yes, let's go for it.
Yes, we discussed with my friend here, Ole Caparo, and what I told him is I'll be out there helping my MCA to retain his seat because in 2027 in Kenya we're having our politics. Another thing is I'll be enrolling with my masters because I'll be completing the current one in 2026 April. I'll be also introducing myself into love, something like that.
I think we've got a room full of love-stricken men, huh?
Comrade Love.
All right, let's give him a round of applause. Good job. I need a lady. I need a couple of ladies. Yes.
Hello, everyone. I've discussed with my neighbor, and for me, I'll be voting as a Kenyan. I'll be voting... And my friend here will be a businesswoman.
Okay. And are you planning to get married? Are you also dying?
No. Yeah.
You're going to break his heart over there. All right. Very good. Round of applause for her. Thank you. Very good job. Let's come here. Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Shalom.
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 All right.
Yes. I discussed with my friend here that I will be, now I'm doing masters, so I will be, in 2 years, I'll finish my masters and I'll be that businesswoman because I work, I'm the HR manager in that organization that calls Together for Offense.
Okay.
So I was telling her that I will own a business that helps people, like orphans around the world,
wow,
the whole world. So I will go to get connections, you see, and then I'll be representing the AYLF members.
Fantastic. Round of applause for her. Good job. And you know the question is coming. What about marriage?
Sorry?
Marriage?
Vanange.
Manange. Guys, you're in trouble. These girls don't want to get married. All right, let's have one more person. All right, let's go for this gentleman right here.
Good afternoon. My name is Moses Gishia.
Okay, guys, let's listen to Moses.
My name is Moses Gishia. In 2027, first of all, I'll be in my final year of studies. I'm studying pharmacy. And secondly, I'll be the voice of the youth of Kiambu County, Kenya.
Well done. Round of applause. And the $1 million question, are you already married or you'll be married or what's the story here?
I'm not married. I'll be planning to do so.
All right. Okay, good. Round of applause. Thank you. All right, we can take our seats. Thank you. All right. So, the topic for this afternoon, and it's really going to be a conversation. It's not going to be a speech. It's not going to be a lecture. I don't do lectures. I do conversations. It's definitely not a sermon. All right? So, visioning and strategy. I want you to think about vision as basically saying, what picture do you have of your life? If you think about the word vision, how it's got to do with visualization, your eyes, what do you see? So you can look at your life today, and there are some things you like about your life today, and there are some things you don't necessarily like about your life today. So then your vision says, what do you want to create? And as my brother said, we're made in the image of God. We have the ability to create. We have the ability to make things happen. So think of visioning as, what do you want to create for yourself, for your world, for your loved ones? And you have that power in you. So visioning is saying, where do I want to go? And the one thing I want to emphasize, it's very important for all of us in the room individually to recognize that you have the answers in you. There's a lot of knowledge. There's a lot you don't know. There's a lot I don't know. But you have answers. And therefore, you don't need to model your life on any other human. You don't need to look out there. The answer is here, and it is with you. God has put you where you are, and where you are is a place for you to have impact. And I promise you, you have it in you. We have a challenge in Africa that we are constantly looking out for answers without trying to figure out what the problem is for ourselves. Nobody knows your problems better than you. If you're broke, you know where you took your money. If you're not getting married, you know what you told those chicks, right? So there's no book that will give you answers. You need to look within yourself and you'll get those answers. So a bit about myself. My name is Charles Maye. I'm married. I'm 54 years old this year. I have a son who's 18 years old. My daughter is 13. And I've been married, like I said, for the last 24 years. My dad is 85, fantastic man. If Kenya only had 10% of men like my dad, this country would be heaven, I promise you. My dad has never lied, has never bribed. My parents, my mom, wonderful human beings. Really, I mean that. And my granddad too. I come from a family of very strong men. My granddad lived to 105. He walked to Nairobi at the age of 15. He moved out of Nairobi in 1936, and he really built a big business, big farm. My aunties, who were born in the 50s, all of them went to universities. People were born in the 50s. That's how much my granddad was fussing. But that's my family background. I have a twin brother, who Nje here knows very well. I have to tell you, we're identical twins, but I promise you, I'm better looking. I've got more swag. So if you meet me and I don't say hi to you, then definitely it's him. Right? And then, of course, as Gabriel said, I sit on the board of AYLF. I think AYLF is doing wonderful work. And so we're trying to do our best to really just light the fires and step out of the way so that we can do what needs to be done. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things, but first I'll just tell you my story. I've had a wonderful, wonderful career and a wonderful life. I've lived in 5 countries. I've worked in 5 sectors. I studied education, so I'm an English teacher by training. I have never stepped into a classroom. Those days, the Kenya government used to tell you what you're going to study. So I was sent to Maseno University. I did a BEd in English. We were the first guys at Maseno University. Within 1 month, I was very clear that wasn't my path. And God opened interesting doors for me. Like I said, I've had a really good career. My last job I did in corporate, right now I run a consulting firm in Nairobi. My last job in corporate, I worked for ABSA. I was the vice president. I was doing the whole program moving Barclays to ABSA. Then before that, I worked for Nation Media Group. I used to run their radio business across East Africa. Before that, I worked in Ghana. I was a marketing and strategy director for Airtel. Before that, I worked in Malawi, where I was a marketing and customer service director for Airtel still. Before that, I worked in London with Diageo. I was selling alcohol for a living. Who takes alcohol here? Be honest. One honest man in the room. All right? And then before that, I worked in Nigeria still with Diageo. So I've had a good career. I've never done a business degree. How did I get all those jobs? I won't lie to you. It's not because I'm clever. It was God's favor. So when I say that I've been successful, it's not about me. I'm saying God has opened a lot of doors. But the interesting thing, if I was to tell you how the journey started, because you're talking about visioning and strategy, we're having a conversation with Beryl over lunch, and we're actually saying that at one level, purpose is overrated. You are alive because you're alive, and you discover your purpose as you go along through life. So you don't want to beat yourself up saying that I don't know my purpose now. As you live your life, as you obey God, your purpose begins to unfold. So for myself, for example, when I was in Maseno, in my second year, I wanted to set up a newspaper in the university. There was no university newspaper. So I got a team of people, and one of the ladies who was on the team, one Sunday we were sitting in church, they were sitting here, and then she comes, and the preacher is talking, and she says, Charles, come. I'm like, what do you want? She says, David wants to meet you. I'm like, who's David? And she says, come, I'll tell you. We go outside. David is her brother-in-law. He's the CEO of the biggest advertising agency in Kenya at the time. And when he had come to see her, she had mentioned, I've got a friend, we're setting up a newspaper, and the guy was in shock. He's like, which crazy guy wants to set up a newspaper in this place? So he wanted to meet me. Guess what happened? 2 years later, that guy gave me my first job. And guess what? That newspaper never even took off. But we were serious about it. So for me, when I was thinking of setting up a newspaper, I had no idea that I was going to work in advertising, but I was doing something. I was moving. I was in motion. So you want to be in motion. So David Oliwa gave me my first job in advertising. No business degree, by the way. So how I even landed there was a different story. Then, when I was in university, and this is where AYLF comes in, the whole concept of mentoring. There's a ministry called the Navigators. I don't know if any of us are familiar with it. A guy who was doing the Navigator ministry in Maseno, he became a friend of mine, and then he introduced me to a bunch of young professionals, people I didn't know before. And these guys, they were in the 26, 27, they had fabulous jobs, they used to drive cars. Those days, not everybody had cars, eh? So if you had a car, you are a tough guy. But guess what? For me, who was doing an English degree, meeting people who were auditors, who were bankers, just opened up my world. And by the time I was finishing university, I was very clear that there was a different career path. It was possible to see other things. So I'd also encourage us, get out of your comfort zone. All these old guys you're seeing over here, other than me, hang out with them, have conversations with them. My brother here, I don't know if you remember, we met in London in 2005 at the Four Seasons in, I think it was in Canary Wharf. And you were just living GSK, and I was living Diageo, and Airtel had, I don't know if you remember that. Yes. So think about that. The people you meet in all manner of places. But the point is, get out of your comfort zone. We're talking about purpose. We're talking about vision. You're not going to get your vision looking inside a computer. You're not going to get your vision writing on a piece of paper. You're going to meet your vision being out there, being in motion. So that's very important. You need to get out of your comfort zone. Anyway, so I meet all these guys, and I begin to see there's a different opportunity. I meet David Oliwa, and I start working in advertising. And then because I worked in advertising, it became very clear that there was a path to go into manufacturing. And so that's what I ended up doing. Now, one of the other people who was my mentor along the way, I'm sure you guys have met David Getende, right? So when I was beginning to work, I worked not too far from David Getende. We used to meet once a week for 2 years. And again, that was really somebody kind of showing a path. And I'm the one who went to him. So if you want somebody to mentor you, don't sit there waiting for them to come to you. Go after all these guys and say, I want to meet you next week. And you call the guy and you bug him. By the way, the guy who gave me the first job in advertising, he gave me his business card when I was in university. He said, when you're in Nairobi, come and see me. And guess what I did? I went. I didn't sit back. And I would call him and he'd be like, oh, what are you doing? Come to my office. Would go to his office. He's going for a meeting, talk for 5 minutes. But the guy took a shine to me and gave me my first opportunity. So what I'm saying is the world is there. The answers are all within you. Remember all this time, I'm a terrible student. I've tried to do a master's degree twice. Some of you are doing 3 masters. I've never succeeded. But guess what? I've gone as high as it can get in corporate. So you have all the answers that you need around you. Not that you're a genius, but God, what does it say? God has given us everything we need for godliness and contentment. I can't remember this of us. Who's got a Bible here? All right. So, no Bibles in the room? In the heart. Okay, so which verse is that? Tell us. All right, I think Jay here will look it up. But what I'm saying is just remember in the concept of visioning, you have the answers. When Obama came to Kenya in 2015, I think it was, you want to go to the White House website and pull down that speech and listen to it. It's really inspirational. And one thing he said was, for example, that when he went to visit his father's home before he became president, he came across 100 letters which his dad had written to universities all over the world trying to get admission. And the point he said was, look, today, guys, I promise you, no matter how bleak things might look at any one time, you can make your fortune here. You can make it big here. You can have an impact here. You don't have to get out. You can choose to get out, but don't ever get to a point where you lie to yourself that God can only work with you outside. God works with you where you are. How did I start working in all these different countries? I got married, and I went for the honeymoon. I was completely broke. If the bill had gone over by 1 soda, would have been in serious trouble. So when I come back to Nairobi, I walk into my boss's office and I tell her, hey, I need a job. And she'd gotten married the year before. So she was very pregnant. So I told her, Deborah, I need a promotion. You're not going anywhere. You got married. You have a child. So I need an international job. We got sounds very sassy. I actually said that to her because we got along very well. She said, really? She said, okay, we're going to see what else is possible. Then I walked into the MD's office. I said the same thing. I said, listen, Ivo, man, I need to rise up, man. And there's no space here. Deborah is not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. So I need a job. I need to go out of the country. And they said, okay, we're going to have a look at that. Then 2 weeks later, I fly to Cyprus. I used to be the brand manager for Smirnoff. Fantastic job, by the way. If you work for a drinks industry, every day you can go out and you're working. So it was really good fun, right? So I go to Cyprus and we're in the bar in the evening and I'm chatting with this lady from Wales. She's like, where are you from? I'm like, from Kenya. She's like, oh, really? I worked in Cameroon. I'm like, what were you doing in Cameroon? She's like, I was a marketing manager for Guinness. So I said, you see, this is a problem with this company. It's a racist company. Why would they give this job to a white girl from Wales and there's a nice black man from Kenya? I think I was very cheeky those days. I actually used to talk to people like that. So she says, no, it's not racism. She said, it is racism. She said, listen, Charles, who knows you? And I said, the guys back home, she said, the people who are giving these jobs, do they know you? Do they know that you want the job? And she told me something. She said, People only give important jobs to people whom they know. You're not going to pick when you get married, if you people ever get married, in the first instance. When you have a small child, you're not going to pick somebody from the road and put them in your house to take care of your child. You need a reference. You need somebody to say, this is a legit person. So she said, number one, she said, these people need to know you. Then she said, number two, have you asked? And guess what the answer was? No. All right? So she said, go and ask. I said, nonsense. You gave me just lots of what? She said, no. Go back to Nairobi and ask. Actually, that's the point at which I went back to Nairobi and I told my boss and the CEO that I want an international job. And then guess what happens? A month later, we've got a conference and some guy flies in from the UK. And as you can tell by now, I'm a big mouth. So during the conference, I'm all over the place, making a lot of noise. So during the coffee break, this Muzungu guy comes and he says, so Charles, what's the plan? What are you thinking? And I said, I want a job out of the country. And I said, I don't want it in the US. I don't want it in the UK. I want it in Africa, in Cameroon, because this lady had made me annoyed about Cameroon. So the guy says, really? And I said, sure. Guess what? 6 months later, I was on a plane to Nigeria with my new wife. I was the first guy in the company to get an international posting. Nobody else had ever gotten an international posting. And all it is I don't have the degree. I'm not, okay, I think I'm clever. But the point is, God has given us everything we need. And like I'm saying, this is a vision that was unfolding. But guess what the story was? When I went back to my granddad and I said, oh, by the way, I'm going to work out of the country. Guess what my granddad said? He said, Charles, God's favor is on you. Because he says, when you were in college, you sat here on this tea plantation. I used to go pick tea with him. And he was telling me, and you told me that you would, I didn't remember this, but he said, you told me you'd like to work out of the country. And he said, everything you told me you want to do, which me had forgotten clearly, maybe I was just talking big, eh? But he says, everything you wanted to do, it's like God is actually opening it up. So there's a whole story of being able to say, you got to be in the moment and you got to pursue the dream you have now, that dream for 2 years from now. Very important. So I go to Nigeria. Nigeria has just come out of military government, so it's a rough place. In fact, I didn't want to go there. The only reason I stayed now was because I said my CV will look very good. If you've worked in Africa, any multinational in Africa, you've got to be in Nigeria, in Kenya, in South Africa, in Egypt. If you're not in those countries, you don't know Africa. So Nigeria is an important place to be in. So I go to Nigeria and I'm like, I'll do my 2 years. And then, because I did, first thing happened, there was a crisis, and I remember I spoke to Patrick Kwaku, the guy of Kiss FM, and he told me, Charles, when you arrive in that place, you got to have a story to tell. So we did some massive concert with Sean Paul, you're talking about 2002. And it was so successful, so suddenly I'm on the radar of everything that's going on. But the other thing I used to do was, every time I'd see a stranger on the corridor, meaning somebody from head office, I'd always go and chat with them because I was partly bored. So again, it's not like I was thinking, guys, I never had a plan. I never had a master plan that said, I'm going to do this, and then after I do this, I'm going to do that, then I'm going. No, I was very present. So you have to be present. So then I meet all these guys on the corridor. At some point, some vacancy opens up in London. And guess what? All those guys from London, when they came to Nigeria, who was the one guy they all knew? Me. So when there's a job coming up, they're like, this job, and everybody says, there's this guy in Nigeria, there's this, I don't know, these conversations are going on. Later on is when I discovered. All right? So that's how I ended up going to work in the UK, and I worked there for 2 years doing a job in innovation across all emerging markets. And then that's how I met this gentleman when that time got finished, and then I ended up working in Malawi. Why am I telling you that story? I'm saying anything is possible. And you want to have a sense of where you want to go. At your age, you don't even worry about 5 years down the road. The moment you build the momentum of pursuing your dreams, and very importantly, where you are today, you can still make it happen. I don't care if your university is in the middle of a bush. I don't care if you're from some God-forsaken place. It's still very possible to actualize your dream where you are today. All right? Good. So I'll just take us through a couple of things, then I'll take some questions. So then, now to bring it back to today, visioning and strategy. So we said vision, you're saying what world do you want to create for yourself? So think of that. And the exercise we did at the beginning saying, where do you want to be 2 years from now? You're asking yourself, where do you want to be? And literally, nothing should stop you back. If you're saying 2 years from now, I mean, you're probably not going to travel very much. But if you're saying you want to have a jet, put it down. Don't feel free to dream. Dreams cost nothing. So put it down on paper and make it happen. So you need to put down that vision of where you want to go. And then you need to give yourself goals. So think of vision as saying, what do you want the world to be? Your world. What do you want to create your world? I have to tell you this. In Jay here will remember, 97 to 2002, 2003, the Kenyan economy was in the toilet. I promise you. Things were just really bad. Guess what? There's a verse, is it Psalm 91? That says, may it not come near you. I had no idea the economy was that bad because I had a fantastic job. I would be on the plane flying to the US. I would meet my college mates who are on a one-way ticket to the US. So I'm like, when are you coming back? Like, coming back to Kenya to do what? I mean, I'm like, but things are okay, man. I've got a nice job. They didn't believe it. It's possible for your life to happen where you are. Never had to try and flee to the US or anything like that, right? So you want to create a vision of where you want to go, which is what world do you want to have? Then you want to define your mission, which is a very specific goal. So some of you have talked about, for example, doing a master's. I want to encourage us to think about outcomes, not activities. That's a very important distinction, guys. A lot of times we get caught up in the activities. Why do you want a master's? Somebody said, who talked about a master's? Let's pick one person. Yes, why do you want a master's? A step to where?
I think in what you want to be.
Which is what?
A good person or a good manager.
Yeah. So you see, you're not thinking about the outcome. So masters are okay. I'm not saying they're bad things, but a master's is an activity that takes you somewhere. Where is that somewhere? So the first thing I'd say is you want to define what outcome do you want. Somebody talks about supporting an MCA, not being an MCA. Guy, you should be saying you want to be the MP, not supporting an MCA. Right? Very important. So what I'm saying, guys, is you want to be very clear about the outcome because the master's is the road to get where you want to go. Don't get caught up with the road. Focus on the destination. So what I'd like you to do, if you go into your writing pad, I'd like you to just put down what outcome, for example, do you want in your life. Let's take it further now, 5 years from now. Just open your writing pad and then let's just put down what outcome do you want in your life. Outcome is the result you want, not the method. Masters is a method. It's not an outcome. You could say you want to run the biggest NGO for orphans in Africa. That's an outcome. And then you'll discover that the masters might not even be necessary. I mean, you can still do it, but it's not, having a master's doesn't guarantee that. Let's have a few people share with us. What have you put down? Are you guys writing or you're on Instagram? So vision, you're saying focus on the outcome, not the method, right? Yes, sir. Okay, let's give him the microphone. Let's just hear one or two people sharing what they've put down.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm called Tendo Talik from Deji University, Uganda. My vision is to create a personal brand and become a very influential personal brand and become a very inspirational person in the world.
Why?
Because I would like to touch other people's lives.
Okay, so what you want to do is to touch lives.
Yes.
Okay, but what? So that's better than just talking about the brand. Sorry, we're going to do a bit of this, right? So that everybody can learn. But why do you want to touch lives? Have you touched the lives of your brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So in which areas do you want to touch lives?
I want to build, as I said, a brand.
No, that's a method.
A method.
Yes, but why do you want to touch lives? For what reason? What kind of lives? Which area? Is it school? Is it farming? Is it
skilling in terms of technology?
Okay.
Yeah, tech skilling.
Okay. So then I think that really has to be the focus. The vision is saying, I want to build a tech scaling organization. Yes. The branding is only a pathway. It's important, but it's a road. It's not the destination. Because even Zari is a brand, right? Right? The Ugandan lady. She has a brand, but what's her destination? Nobody knows her destination. So it's not about the brand, it's about the destination. So thank you for sharing. Let's give him a round of applause.
Okay, thank you so much.
Somebody else? Yes, at the back. Then we'll come to the front.
Yes, thank you. My name is Franklin Masetti. So I would like to be a minister in future.
A minister?
Maybe, yeah.
Cabinet minister?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like of education, not academics.
Why?
Because I feel like I should transform education mostly in my country, Kenya.
Why? What? You look like you're fine. What's wrong with the education system?
I might be fine, but there are other people in the local areas and in other places that are not getting the basic education that we are getting.
Okay. Yeah. So you want to do what? You want to make sure education is high quality and spread out?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, good. So that's a good vision. And it's good you want to be a minister, but guess what? Even if you don't become a minister, can you still create that vision?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, do you see the difference? If you're clear about the destination, you don't get confused with the methodology. You might not be the Minister of Education, but maybe you'll be the boss of UNICEF and impact education across Africa instead of just one country, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause. Very good. Come on, guys. Let's give him a round of applause. What's that? Yosio Makofi. All right. Yes, then we'll come here to the front of the lady. Yes, go ahead.
So my name is Nelin Iriri from Kenya. So I want to run a circle in my place.
Where's your place?
Embu.
Okay.
And in future, I want this circle to spread everywhere.
Why? You know what I'm asking.
The reason why I want to run a circle, I want to make money.
Yes. Honesty.
Honestly, I want to make money. The second thing, I want to help people from my community to access loan in a cheaper way. Microfinance are really making them to wabaki to be people from that lower. Yes. The second thing, I want to advocate for financial discipline among our students. And by the way, I'm a beneficiary of ABSA Ready to Work.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Round of applause for her. Good job. Come on, guys. You give a clap or you don't clap. The other thing you're going to do in your life is either you do or you don't do. If you're clapping, you clap. If you don't want to clap, you don't clap. But I'll still force you to clap. All right, thank you. So, guys, what are we trying to say there? That your vision is your destination. Where do you want to end up? Your mission. Where do you want to go? All right? Anybody else? Yes, let's come here, right?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nemo. I'm also a Starian. I was told you're a Starian.
That's right.
Okay. Okay, I want to be in the world's Guinness Record Book.
Come on, guys, let's listen up.
Okay, I want to be in the world's Guinness Record Book as the first female Somali neurosurgeon.
Whoa,
Okay.
round of applause for her. Very good. Wait. Why do you want to be the first female Somali neurosurgeon? Why?
Okay, there's this myth that like if you are a Somali, by the age of around 21, you are supposed to be out of school and you are supposed to be married or else you will not be able to get married in future. But I want to break that.
So you want to be the first female Somali neurosurgeon who's married with how many
not
children?
Married, single.
Single?
Yes.
All right, let's give a round of applause. Huh? Come on, guys, let's give her a round, please. You guys are not clapping for her. Come on. Okay, so I like that. She's saying she wants to be a neurosurgeon, but she's also very clear she wants to change how society thinks about some things. So that's actually, you want to be a change maker. And the neurosurgeon is just a path, isn't it? And it's a very visible, high impact path. Very good, thank you. All right, good. All right, let's have the last gentleman. We're trying, guys, we're saying about visioning. I'm saying think of your vision as your destination. We get confused between the method or the activity as opposed to the destination. If you're going to Mombasa, you can fly, you can walk, you can train, you can bus, you can hitchhike, but the destination is Mombasa. The destination is not to be in the presidential jet. Presidential jet is nice, but that's not the goal. The goal is you want to be in Mombasa. All right, very good. Let's go.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Desire from Uganda. For me, one of my greatest dreams or my mission is to create one of the most modern farms, because today there is an increasing population and the land doesn't expand. So I want to teach people how they can produce food and promote food security on a small scale.
Fantastic. Very good. Round of applause for him. Good job. All right. So guys, I hope we're getting the thing of saying vision is what world do you want to create? She wants to create a world where Somali girls are not getting married. I don't know why you want to create that world, but it's acceptable. All right. And then therefore you're saying you want to be a change maker. So what world do you want to create? And then what destination shows that you are actually arriving in that particular place? She mentioned Starehe girls. How many of us know the story of Starehe? Anybody else from Starehe other than me and Jay here? Oh, fantastic. There's some geniuses in the room. Another one. Fantastic. All right. So if you look at the story of Starehe, if you hear how it was started, was that during the Mau Mau War, there were many street boys in Nairobi because any guy, okay guys, let's have one session. All right. Any guys who are above 14 would be arrested and taken to detention. So they were running from their homes and spending time on the streets. So the guy who founded Starehe, Muzungu guy called Geoffrey Griffin, what did he decide to do? He decided to set up a shelter for these streets because he said this is a time bomb. If you have all these boys walking on the streets, by the time they are 20, 25, they're going to be criminals. And society cannot sustain itself that way. So he set up a shelter for street children. And at some point he said, why can these street children be able to get a high quality education equivalent to that which the son of the richest person can get? And that's how Starehe was born. NYS, the same guy is the one who set up National Youth Service, because then Jomo Kenyatta asked him, if you've done this for these street boys, why don't you do this on a national scale? And therefore he set up National Youth Service. Starehe is the only school in this country where you have heard of Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali has visited Starehe. You have heard of Pele. Pele has visited Starehe. You have heard of Robert Kennedy. He has visited Starehe. You have heard of Indira Gandhi. Who else do you want to hear of? All right. Why? Because this guy was able to have a huge impact. But it all started from saying that the children of poor people should be able to get a world-class education. And it started with what? A shelter. Somebody talked about something for orphans. It started with saying, let me remove street children from the street and put them in a comfortable place. So that's a good example. We're sitting here at Lukenya. Who knows the story of this place? Anybody? How this place started? In 1995-96, the guy who set up this place is called Timothy Mahinda. Timothy lives in Nairobi. Nairobi is crowded. He decides, he lived in, I think, golf course. He decides he wants to get a place to be coming for the weekends. Builds a little house. Him and his friends keep coming every weekend, Little house, huh? They come once a month, once every 3 months with his family. At some point, other friends are saying, can we rent your place? And that's how this place started, as literally somebody's weekend home. And then it just kept growing and growing. So for you to build something big, you don't have to start big. You have to start with something that's relevant and that's here, right next to yourself. So we're talking about destination, and then we were saying that strategy is saying, how do you get there? And everybody who's been talking, I think to an extent we are confusing the destination with the how, with the journey. So your strategy, we're saying visioning and strategy. Vision, how do you want the world to be? Mission, what's your destination? Then your strategy is you're saying, how do I want to get there? Gentleman talked about setting up a big farm. The question is, how? Do you have a plan of how you're going to get there? Let's give him the microphone again, the farmer.
So,
no pressure, eh? Just talk to us. Eh?
So, for first of all, I have to first go on preaching the gospel of the importance of agriculture, rearing animals. So, when people get their knowledge, then I go back to my family. Because I don't come from a 0-0 family. At least I come from a 1 family. Not rich, not poor, but at least there. So, I have to modify it to make sure that it becomes rich. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm educated. I have the knowledge. I'm connected. Now I've seen you. You think you're going to live here. So people like you, when I reach you out, when I reach Uncle Tim, you'll advise me and give me more knowledge. Then after studying, I'll be working with those organizations. Like for example, National Forest Organization. I will be moving, even if I volunteer at least, but I will be seeing better people like you.
Thank you. All right, round of applause for him. Good job. There's like a table here of 4 people who are not, these 4 ladies, they are not clapping, they're on Instagram. Can you clap for the gentlemen, ladies? All right. So remember, we said that your outcome is how you want the world to be your vision. Your mission is your destination. Then what you're now talking about is your strategy is saying the how. And we're saying, again, don't get obsessed with activities. You want to be rich. Why? Because you want to have a certain life. So that's where your vision is. Focus on the things that drive that outcome. I'm trying to make us understand the difference between drivers and outcomes. Think of drivers as football. Who plays football here? All right. Do you play in a good team? Is your team strong? It is. Okay. So if you've got a good team, Kenya is a good example. Every year in Kenya, they say that we'll be in the World Cup 8 years from now. Every year they say the next World Cup is next year, right? 2026. So the minister will come and say, 2034 World Cup, we must be there. They've been saying this for the last 60 years. It's never going to happen. Why do I say it's never going to happen? Because they're so obsessed with a particular result as opposed to saying, what are the conditions that enable that to happen? Right? So what we're saying is whatever your vision is, you need to ask yourself, are you in the right conditions? Nobody grows tomatoes in the desert. The conditions are not ripe for tomatoes to grow in the desert. If you want to grow tomatoes in the desert, you have to create the conditions. So think of your strategy as saying, am I creating the conditions to succeed? You're saying you want to succeed in life. What are the conditions that you require, and how do you create those conditions? Think of that as your strategy. Once you think of the conditions, then you can talk about the steps that you're taking. So most of us have a dream. We then start copying, and that's why at the beginning I said you don't need to copy anybody. We start copying what other people are doing. There's nobody who's a millionaire who became a millionaire by reading books about millionaires, I promise you. When Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook, he did not call Bill Gates for advice. He didn't say, oh, I want to build this big company. I'm going to call Bill Gates and tell him to teach me how to build. No, he focused on what he wanted to build. And what he wanted to build was unique to him. So you need to find what is that unique calling that you have. Even today, you don't need to worry about 10 years from now. Today you're in university, 1 year, 2 years down the road, 3 years maximum. What do you want to build? What do you want to achieve? And go for it with all you have. It's not bad to get advice, but what I'm saying is it's not built by looking out there. It's built by really being passionate about what you want and then being very clear. Don't get caught up. You want to do a master's, do a master's. A master's is, and maybe that's your goal. Maybe you want to say you have 20 masters. So if that's your end, that's fine. If you're saying you want people to come to your house and see 20 certificates, it's not a bad thing. But the question is, what do you want to get? What destination do you want? So you want to really focus on that destination. Excellent. Questions? Yes, sir. Let's get him.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Eloji Abikunda from Burundi, and I just have a question about vision and destination we were talking about. When we all were young, we dreamt about being like doctors and lawyers, and soldiers, but when we are growing up, it kept changing always. Yes. And sometimes many people choose visions based on the reality of today. But when you are keeping growing up, you see some other realities and you choose to change the vision and the destination.
That's right.
So is there any problem about changing the vision depending on the reality you are keeping seeing? Or maybe it is subnormal, it is not normal?
Okay, that's a good question. You get the question? He's asking that sometimes we keep changing our goal or vision or mission or destination. It's normal, and that's why I think it's important to have that distinction between the destination versus the journey, because a lot of times we focus on the methodology rather than the journey. So for example, if you say you want to become a lawyer, why do you want to become the lawyer? Maybe you want to be a fighter for justice. So if you want to be a fighter for justice, even if you don't become a lawyer, you can become an activist or you can become a parliamentarian. But if you say the goal is to be a lawyer, then when that doesn't happen, you feel like you're losing the path. So that's why you want to focus on the destination. Where do you want to go? And you want to be also clear why. What impact are you trying to have? If you do that, then there'll be different routes. So even if one route closes, there might be another route. So what I'm saying is, it's normal, but what's very important is to be clear between the difference between the destination versus the method of getting to that. You want to have a beach holiday. So you'll say, I want to go to Mombasa. Or you can go for a beach holiday in Dar es Salaam, in Mozambique, in not Goma. What's this town on Lake Kivu? Yes, there are beaches there, right? But if you are obsessed with Mombasa, when you don't go to Mombasa, you'll feel like you have failed. But what you want is a beach holiday. Or if you want to go to the ocean, you're saying, where can I find an ocean? In Kenya, in Tanzania, in Mozambique, in Somalia, in wherever. There are many different beaches. And then you don't have to pay for it. You can decide you want to save money, or AYLF might be saying they want a volunteer to go to Mozambique for 3 months. And you volunteer and Gabriel pays for your air ticket. And you get your beach holiday, right? But if you're obsessed with saying, I have to raise 300,000 shillings, $3,000, you don't get the $3,000, you say, oh, life is difficult, I failed, I never achieved it. You don't have to pay 3,000. Gabriel will pay it for you. All right? Yes, thank you. Another question? Okay, and then we'll go to the lady. Yeah, just take the microphone.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Akena Moses from Uganda.
Okay.
I just have a question concerning the vision. You said we should focus on the outcome.
Yes.
my question is, does your focus on the outcome, because you have to employ a method, a strategy, does it have to do with something you're good at? Because sometimes as a growing person, you know, there is something you're good at, yet they don't really align to the outcome you wish to make. But then you are very good at this thing. So how can you try to harmonize those things coming together?
Give me an example, just so that we can better understand.
Well, an example is, let me put an example of someone who has been in a war-torn zone, okay? And then you realize that your outcome is to try to create that community of peace, of where people are not faced with trauma. But then now, we all know that the strategy there is, number one, you have to first go to that place of influence,
yes,
whereby you can create the impact. But then you find that someone is not good at that, because let me say, a short way of going to that place can be leadership and politics. You rise through those ranks and then you go and create. But then someone is not good at that, but maybe you find that in the field of medicine is where when you go there, you really see that I am very good at these things. But then what you're looking at is a peaceful community, not treating victims of war. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that there could be different ways to tackle it. So is that a question or a comment I'm trying to get?
It is a question, because I'm trying to say, in such scenario, can you try to harmonize to come
yes.
the outcome?
So I think the question you're asking is, what if the path you're choosing or your destination might not necessarily be what you're good at? Should you focus on what you're good at? And the answer is absolutely yes. You want to, because the things you're good at will not be burdensome. If you choose a path where you don't have the skills or the passion or the talent, it becomes like a big sack on your back. And then you end up struggling with it so much, you don't even have any impact. And people can see when you're struggling. I gave the example. I've tried to do master's degree 3 times in 3 different countries. I like to learn. I don't learn well in structured environments. To sit there, you guys are sitting for 2 years and listen to somebody doesn't work for me. But I learn. I mean, right now, my company, I failed biology, but my company, we do consulting for hospitals. So I sit with doctors and surgeons and I tell them, you're not doing your job properly. And guess what? They listen to me. And I wasn't good in biology. I sit with accountants. I hated accounting. I sit with the top audit firms, PwC, Deloitte, and I tell them, you guys are running this place badly. And guess what? They listen to me. And I don't have a master's, I don't have that. So there's different paths. So you want to go the path that you're passionate about. It's very important, okay? Very good. I think I can see the signs that I have outstayed my time. There's a couple of questions. So I'll maybe take one more. And then, okay, that lady is really shaking her hands, etc. So go for it. The lady at the end, the far end. Sorry, my bad. I apologize. Please go ahead, and then we'll go to the back as well.
Okay. My name is Witness from Tanzania.
Hi, Witness.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Okay, so my question is, growing up, I believe we have people who are multi-talented.
Yes.
Like they have different talents and they're good at different things.
Yes.
So that, speaking about vision,
Yeah.
it made me think, is it bad or good to have multiple visions?
No, it's very good. It's very good. What you want, have I got the question, or yes, the question is a bit longer? Okay, continue the question.
Because when the more we hear people talking about visions, mostly, it's like, I must have that one calling. So that made me confused. Is it okay if I have multiple visions? All those are just mere wishes that one wants.
Yes, it's okay to have multiple, and that's a good question. Have multiple visions, but what you want to do is you need to get out of your comfort zone and get on the football pitch. You want to put yourself in situations where you're tested, where you're trying different things, so that you'll know what you're really good at. So that you're not just good at it in your head, right? Because many people are good. I think I'm very good at singing. No, I'm not. I gotta get onto a stage, sing badly, be booed off, then I'll be like, you know what? It's not my field. Or alternatively, I become very good at it and I shine. So you want to get out there. Elon Musk, PayPal, That's a finance company. SpaceX is doing space. He's doing satellites. He's doing Tesla. He's doing, and then now he's playing at politics. So no, if you think you have talents, by all means, what I'd say do is test them, put them out there, and try and go for it. But just remember that there's a period of testing. At some point, it helps to focus rather than spread yourself too thin. But at this stage in your life, how old are you again? Yeah. You're still young. You should not be embarrassed about being 23. For the next 3, 4, 5 years, you can do anything. If you want to go back and try to do medicine, go for it. You can try anything and everything. Very good. All right, the last question, then I'll exit the stage.
Thank you so much. My name is Nasolo Faith. I'm a Ugandan. My question is, in life, how have you dealt with rejection? And I'm asking, I think this is somewhat, it's relevant. You mentioned about going on a flight with your new wife. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
About what, sorry?
Your... Okay, like you just gave us a hint. You mentioned about going on a flight with your new wife in Cameroon, if I'm right. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Okay, so about the one for the flight, I'm told you can see me, about the wife and the flight, you can see me after this. That's what he's saying.
But they got it wrong.
Oh.
So when you said a new wife, they thought there was an old wife.
No,
clarify.
No. Okay. All right. So in terms of dealing with rejection, let me say this. Failure means nothing. So if you fail or if you're rejected, don't attach. It's only as important as the meaning you attach to it. You learn from stuff and you move on. So don't get stuck where you fell off or where you got rejected or where you supposedly failed. There are very few things that are fatal, so you need to be able to move from that. In relation to marriage, I'm very happily married. One wife for the last 24 years. I think is that the question? Okay, you see me after this, and then you can come with your friends and I'll tell you about it. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And look forward to seeing you again. Good.
All right, amazing. Come on, let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.